Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be learning how to solo Helwyr for beginners using melee only. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Helwyr is level 1000 with 200k life points. His regular hits are around 1.2k and his max hit can hit up to 3k. He does not poison, however you can poison him. He has no weaknesses, although I wouldn't recommend to try and range him as he hits you with melee. Next we have the requirements. So you will need level 80 magic to face this boss, although it can be boosted. You will also need the ability Devotion, so if you haven't got it, I'd hold back until you have that ability unlocked. You will also need to bring a shield or a defender along with you. Okay, so onto the stats recommendations. You will need at least 85 plus in your melee stats and 80 plus in defense. 95 plus prayer for curses, so to unlock curses, you will need to complete the Temple of Celestine quest. 96 plus or 91 boosted to make overloads. 67 plus summoning for a war tortoise. If you can bring a yak, that's even better. Eventually people like to switch out their bobs and bring a steel titan instead for their extra DPS, but I would only recommend that once you are not consuming your food and you are comfortable to do so. Here is a list of useful items. First up, we have adren pots and replenishment pots. So these can come in handy if you don't have enough adren, when you need to use the abilities Devotion or Debilitate. Also handy if you decide to start using Berserk. Enhanced Excalibur, free heals every 5 minutes, so it's helpful to have and will save you plenty of food. Bonfire boost, so boost your life points with the highest tier logs you can burn. A timer will show up depending on your fire making level and the type of logs you have used. An extra familiar pouch. Now sometimes you may forget. I know I have done and still do if it wasn't bound to my presets, so make sure you bring an extra one to avoid dropping all your food on the floor. Okay, so moving on to the gear setups and inventory. So for the next part I'll be showing you my preset I use at Helwyr. I'll be talking for a while to cover the gear and the inventory for those of you who are interested in using the same setup. However, if you're good on your setups, you can just skip to the next part. Okay, so just to let you guys know, this is my preset and this is what I use if I fancy soloing Helwyr for an hour, and it does quite great. Now there is a lot of things that you can change to your liking or if you prefer to spice it up, and I quote, this is just an example preset. You do not have to use this preset, but you are more than welcome to use it. There are some out there that have different tiers of gear and extra items and different potion levels that also work too. Okay, so in my armor slots, I am using my augmented full Melev and Bandos boots and Bandos gloves. You can use tier 80 gear, but it will be harder to sustain yourself longer, but it is possible for sure. Now, there is something that you can change here, which is the gloves. You can use Cinderbanes. They're amazing here if you combo them with Weapon Poison++, however they are currently quite expensive. In my weapon slot, I am using my Noxious Scythe. If you don't own a scythe, you can use a Dragon Rider Lance instead, or even the Twin Furies Blades. If you decide to bring the Twin Furies Blades, you will need to bring along a halberd for a part in the fight that requires AoE abilities. In my cape slot, I am wearing my comp cape for the stats boost as well as a Sign of Life. If you don't own a comp or a max cape, bring your highest stats cape. Defense would be better for the Sign of Life. Okay, so in my aura and scrimshaw slots, I am using the Vampirism Scrimshaw for the extra healing and the Vampirism Aura. The Vampirism Aura and the Scrimshaw is a must if you want to be able to last an hour there. I've tested it out without multiple times, and honestly having those two items helped me out so much. Also, just a little tip, to use the Vamp Scrimmy you need to have 80 strength, so I thought I'd put that in there before anyone decided to try and use it with the lower level. Okay, so in my inventory I have my shield and my 2 overloads, a couple of super prayer restores and my heart teleport to get me to God Wars 2. However, the heart teleport can only be used once the Tale of the God Wars mini quest has been completed. Next we have the Protean logs for my bonfire boost. If you don't have any, you can use like 5 or 6 of your highest tier logs you can burn. Now it's good to have this buff active as it increases your life points. I also have brought an extra yak pouch just in case I would like to stay there longer or my familiar time starts to tick down. And a few Saradomin brews and rocktails as my food. Now it's nice to have the sour brews alongside some food, as in an emergency you can eat them both on the same tick. Okay, so now that I'm done explaining my presets and inventory, let's move on to some of the perks that are useful for soloing Helwyr. So I have a list of perks here that I use to solo Helwyr. You don't have to use the same ones, just pick a few to use based on your invention level. I'll give a quick rundown on a few of the main perks to have. Okay, so the first one we have is Aftershock 3. Now this is really awesome to have for the extra DPS, but it does require 89 invention to unlock. Mobile. Mobile is very useful to have also, because it allows you to get places much faster with the cooldown. Crystal Shield 3. Now this is another good perk to have. So for those of you who don't know what it does, when Crystal Shield activates, it will keep track of how much damage you take for 10 seconds, adding it to a pool of life points. Then for 30 seconds after that, any damage you receive will be subtracted from this pool of life points instead of your actual life points. Enhanced Devoted 3. Now this perk is another great one also to have. It has a chance of each hit of replicating the devotion ability for 3 seconds. The perk does not put the ability itself on cooldown, however this perk takes up to 2 slots in a gizmo, meaning it cannot be paired with any other perk in the same gizmo. Impatient 3. Now Impatient 3 is pretty awesome to have too. It's a 9% chance per rank for basic abilities to generate 3% extra adren. Also we have Precise 5. Now this perk is a must on your weapons. This perk increases your minimum damage by 1.5 per rank of your maximum damage. We also have a Quill, which is really good to use. Now bear in mind, these are only the main perks that I have picked out that have helped me with soloing Helwyr for an hour. Now there are other perks out there such as Absorbative, etc. So be sure to pick the right perks for yourself. On the next part of the video, I will be showing you how to get to the God Wars 2 via the teleport tab and getting my KC. Also just a warning, some loud music will probably be kicking in right now, so please watch your ears. Okay, let's have a look at Helwyr's attack rotation. Now, the first attack Helwyr starts with is Nature Lend Me Your Aid. This is where Helwyr will grow mushrooms on the ground. Then he will do 3 auto attacks. Right after it he will say You Will Bleed, which is his cleave attack. Then it's his 3 auto attacks again, and then he will do his frenzy attack. Now once his frenzy attack is over, he will do 3 auto attacks again, and then he will spawn his baby wolves. It's 3 auto attacks again, and then he repeats everything. However, if you're not standing in close range, Helwyr can skip auto attacks, so just make sure that you can watch his auto attacks carefully so you can anticipate what his next move will be. Okay, so for the next part of the video, I will be going into depth on Helwyr's attack rotation via some actual footage, but just before we do that, the auto attack after each special attack does not have any animations, so after each special attack, it's 2 auto attacks that you visibly can see. Okay, so Helwyr's first attack is he will yell Nature Lend Me Your Aid. He will spawn these mushrooms that emit green gas. However, if you're standing in those mushrooms for 4 seconds, you will be bound in that spot, so try not to get stuck. Now how to deal with this attack? You can use Surge or Escape, or simply just spam click so you move fast enough out of the mushrooms before it lasts for like 4 seconds, and you won't get bound. Okay, so the next attack that Helwyr does is called Cleave. So this is where Helwyr will stand upright, yelling You Will Bleed, and this is where he will cleave the area in front of him. If you are caught in the claw, you will be hit up to around 3k damage, and you will be applied with a bleed stack. Now how to deal with this attack? This can be easily avoided by running far enough from him in any direction so that you're not in front of him, especially underneath him to either side. And as you can see in the video, I have equipped my shield and pressed resonance to heal me off the damage instead. Now this is a really efficient way to last long in your instance for the hour as well, as it saved me with so much food. The next attack he does is called Frenzy. Helwyr will leap over to you, yelling "You cannot escape me." Now this frenzy attack will deal rapid melee damage up to 1.8 every 2 ticks and adds up to 5 bleed stacks in total. How to deal with this attack? You can use Devotion to block all the melee attacks, but Debilitate is a good alternative for when Devotion is on cooldown. However, you can also try to move away from him, but it has never worked for me. Once he's done with his frenzy, use Freedom and that will clear all the bleeds he has inflicted on from the cleave attack as well as the frenzied attack. Okay, so this is the final attack of his rotation. Howl. Helwyr will literally howl into the air, summoning 2 Cywir alphas. They only have like 3k life points, but these alphas need to be killed in order to prevent them from sniping your resonance heals. How to deal with this attack? So this is the part where you will need to use a halberd. As you can see in the video, I am using the abilities Quake and Hurricane for the AoE. You can also switch to Soul Split on this part for the extra heals or even stay protecting melee. So once Helwyr finishes this attack, he will repeat everything until he dies. However, I did notice something further into the fight. Helwyr kinda stopped spawning these wolves. Now I couldn't tell if this is meant to happen or if it was a bug, so I was unsure if I should put this in, but I thought it would be cool to let you guys know. For the next part, I'll put in a full kill with the rotation so you guys can clearly see everything we have learnt today. And that is the end of my video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the notification bell and join my Discord server. Peace out.